Mr. Chair, if I could just address some of the comments that were made today, I would greatly appreciate that.
Representative Her, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I want to first state that I'm completely sympathetic of the stories that have been told. I have immediate family members who are officers. I lived with my aunt and my uncle while I went to college. My uncle was a cop for 30 years. I sat and watched her every single day wait for my uncle to come home every single night, even though he worked the night shift and she would work. She'd get up and go to work at 8 in the morning. She never went to bed until he came home. So this is not a topic that I take very lightly, and I want everyone to be very aware of that. And I have officer family members who sit in front of our house door and protecting us every day. And as the danger in our work increased, they were there protecting us. So I don't take this job and what I'm doing right now lightly. This is really important to me. But I am going to address some things that were said today to make sure that people understand. We did our best to include as many people as possible, and the individual people were not part of the stakeholder group. We were told they were represented in the groups that were there, and that we had labor there who were representing people who worked. We had individuals there who represented individual officers. We had a number of people there representing views and perspective. So as you all know, it is impossible to have every single person and every voice in any process. We did our best to ensure that your voices were represented, and I tell you right now, MPPOA and the cops fought dearly for every single one of you. This took 16 revisions in 3 years because they were fighting for people who are on duty disability right now. So I want people to be rest assured your viewpoints were clearly represented at this work that we were doing. The people who are saying that they're being treated differently as veterans and people on federal disability, I want to be really clear right now. I did a lot of research on disability. This plan is the most generous plan in the state of Minnesota. If you want to compare disability and who is getting it worse, ask people on federal disability. They get an offset immediately as they start to earn money, and they get way less, a huge amount less in their disability. And that our veterans, their benefits is far less great than this one. And so when we want to talk about equity, I suggest that you all talk to those on those disabilities and ask how they are doing on those plans, because they too serve this country. My grandfather was a Secret War veteran, died with no benefits and no recognition. 40,000 young people died fighting for this country, and they don't get recognized as veterans. So we can talk about the inequities that exist, but there is a lot of inequity that does exist. And what I'm thinking about is I am balancing this with our current active officers who now have said nothing, but they will, if this bill does not go through today, they will say something because they will pay more. Thousands of them will pay more for the hundreds that we are trying to fix this problem for. So I want to be very clear. Let us look at federal disability. Let us look at veterans benefit, and then you tell me what is fair and what is not fair. Talking about how there might be several months before seeing a psychologist. We actually did also have provisions in the plan that says if you can't get in to see a psychologist by the time listed there, you can just get a note that says you won't get in for 3 months. We have thought about these pieces of it. I want to also be very clear that there's motives have been impugned on people saying that we had misleading people. We have not been misleading people.
If the audience cannot remain quiet, I'll get the sergeants to clear the room. Representative Her.
Thank you. And like I said, I'm just trying to put out the right information here. And the plans that have changed, there's no changes. The reapplication process is the same. We are just codifying that until because PARA was coming under scrutiny that they weren't doing their job, and they were. And now it is clear in statute what needs to happen. And so I just want to be really clear. There was so much more that I could say here about what has been said today, but I won't, because I understand that anything that I say is just going to look at me as anti-cop. And I want to be very clear again. There is not one provision in this bill that is mine. There are 100 things that I could have put in this bill that I did not. And all I did was work with the stakeholders to get us to this point. But if you all want to have individual conversations with me, I welcome that. We continue to work on this bill. I asked all of the stakeholders. We had the last meeting on Saturday. We still continue to talk. And I asked every single one of them to say, will you come back? If this bill doesn't work the way we want to, I need all of you to come back and fix what we need to fix. And they all said yes. So understanding that this is not done, but we do need to address it because small cities like Nisswa will go bankrupt. Officers who are currently paying to the system now will have to pay more. And so unless somebody has a real solution, they're telling you to wait another year. I'm going to tell you right now, this has already been 3 years in the making. If I wait another year, there will be more consequences to this situation. And lastly, I just want to say that telling me that there should be a cutoff and after a certain date, I'm telling you right now, I'm working with teachers who are fighting me on 20 years of a cutoff saying I missed the cutoff by 6 months. putting a coffin that will not solve this situation. We will continue to have people who are saying, I now need to be grandfathered in as well. I can't make everyone happy in this bill, and I'm asking you all to please work with me on figuring this out, because now just coming in and saying this bill isn't gonna work, then we need to figure out how to get 3 years of work on track again. And so I'm gonna leave it with just that, Madam Chair Nelson. I know there's a lot, we still have other bills to be heard, but I encourage other people to have a conversation with me and not just impugn my motives and not make assumptions as to what people were doing when they were putting this bill together.